come out of the meditative experience, they again come back. Okay. Okay, so the author is saying, the author, the commentary, Lama Tsongkhapa, is saying that because employing the ignorance, that is knowledge obscuration or cognitive obscuration, is not the reason for the existence of appearances. Say, the appearance of objective existence. Appearances, say these Aryas, in what way they differ from the Buddhas. Buddhas also Arya, non-Buddhas, non-Buddha Aryas are also Aryas. So what's the difference? The difference is that for the Buddhas, when they go into samadhi or no samadhi, the point is that at all times, this appearance never come. This appearance never come. Say, so therefore the change, alternating between appearance, absence of appearance, this act of alternating does not happen to the Buddhas. Whereas for the non-Buddha Aryas, this alternating with appearance, non-appearance, this alternating with the two happens. So why for non-Buddhas this happening is because of the cognitive obscuration, ignorance related to the cognitive obscuration. Okay, so this cognitive obscuration, it is responsible for the appearance. But I say, for example, if I say that okay, this water is because he brought it. When I give the reason, along with the water, the glass also, came here. But the reason why I'm saying that he brought it is because I am more concerned about the water. Whether it's a glass, whether it's a steel mug, whether it's a clay pot, it doesn't matter. But the fact is both came here because of their present. But the reason that I'm trying to say that he brought it, and the emphasis is not on the container, on the water, the content, the emphasis. Likewise, the emphasis here, of course, this ignorance, cognitive obscuration, ignorance, that is one which creates the mistaken appearance. And it's also responsible for the alternating between the appearance and the absence of the appearance. It's responsible for both. But the author, the commentator, the Acharya Chandrakirti in his auto commentary, he was emphatic with the second point, not the first one, not with appearance. The reason that he's giving is for the reason why in the case of Buddha there is no, the two things are not the alternated, but whereas for the Buddha Arhats, the Aryas, these two things alternate. Why? Because of the cognitive obscuration. Okay. Okay. Now page 139. The flow of minds and mental factors mentioned in the auto commentary is asserted to be the conceptuality. Conceptual meaning conceptual minds. Conceptual minds. Okay, why the conceptual mind is not really favored here is because conceptual minds are, okay, anyone who likes to share why the conceptual mind is not really set here with no favor. That conceptual mind, this is, it says that the flow of minds and mental factors is asserted to be conceptuality or the thoughts, conceptual minds or the thoughts. So these thoughts, the Buddhas, they stop this, right? Why do you think that the conceptual mind is indicated here to say that the Buddhas, they stop this? Why? Yes, this is Vasila. Okay, a mic which is functional mic.
Geshe-la, because the conceptual mind will always go through the generic image.
Yes.
And so it will always be mistaken as regards the object of appearance. So there will always be a cognitive observation there.
The mistake is because of they have to employ the generic image. Once you employ the generic image, so in what way that is related to the cognitive obscuration?
That outside of meditative equipoise, for the superiors, the bhaktas, Arya beings, or even the arhats, after they've got rid of self-grasping ignorance, the object of appearance will always be mistaken.
So in what way it is mistaken? Object of appearance, in what way it is mistaken when they come out of the meditative equipoise?
Because they'll confuse the generic image with the actual object. So the generic image of the flower, the object of appearance will be confused with the object.
Okay, this is also interesting thing. Anything else? This is also very interesting, Joyaji. So what this visitor said is that for the non-Buddha Aryas, when they come out of the meditative, when they come out of the meditative state, is it necessary that conceptual mind should arise? Okay, fine. Conceptual mind may not necessarily arise, right? It can be non-conceptual. But why the conceptuality is said that is indicated here, that the Buddhas stopped the conceptuality. Because with conceptuality, then the object is always mistaken with respect to the object appearance, seeing the generic image appearing, seeing the generic image, object appearance, and the actual object, of the apprehension, these two as mix or as one. So this mistake. So with this, what's the problem? This is my question. Anyway, this is very interesting. This mistake can be because of the cognitive obscuration. Yes. So any other point? Yes, Joyaji?
So I was wondering if it is because the Buddhas see everything directly and unmistakably, so there's no discursive thinking about anything. It's a direct perception.
Yes, it's a direct perception, but why this is indicated that the conceptuality is undermined? What's the problem with the conceptuality? Tejala?
Well, because it appears as objectively real.
Okay, so the mistake with respect to the appearance, conceptuality, is that for conceptual mind, always it should be mistaken with respect to the appearance of the things appearing as object real, right? Object real. This already we did it. We did this already. I did already. Okay, so the conceptual minds are always mistaken with respect to object appearance. In what sense? In the sense that objects continue to appear as objectively real. You're getting this is where an emphasis is required. Whereas in the group discussion, we can discuss the other area also. That the conceptual mind, they mistake the object appearance, the generic image, with the object appearance, the apprehension. These two things are seen as mixed or as one. These two appear as one, which is mistaken. Is that mistake because of the? Is that mistake because of the cognitive obscuration? Right? Of course, it should be because some mistake should be there. Mistake must be because something. And the arhats, low arhats, they already eradicate these self-grasping ignorance and the afflictions. So the mistakes that they have should be because of the cognitive. So they still have the conceptual mind and the thoughts, right? Very good. Okay, so the point is, what we will know is that here, why the conceptuality is emphasized, that the Buddha abandoned the conceptual mind, is because, simply because of this, don't jump to the conclusion that, so why don't we go for a practice which abandons conceptuality directly, right? Okay, so the point is there are traditions which talk about, cutting the conceptuality directly, right? So there, how they understand cutting the conceptuality and how it is understood here in the main Nalanda tradition, these two are very different. Oftentimes, people, they become, what's the English expression? I don't know. So the point is, we attended the Narendra Master's course. There's conceptuality, conceptual minds, and so forth. So the wisdom of emptiness, bodhicitta, they're all conceptual, right? Wisdom of emptiness initially is conceptual. Non-conceptual comes only during the gate, paragate, path of seeing, and paths of seeing will take so many eons. So very hopeless. Whereas the other tradition, direct cutting the conceptuality is amazing. Directly getting access to the reality, cutting the conceptuality, cutting through this was a very powerful, right? So simply because what they are saying is not wrong. What they are saying is not wrong, but the vocabulary is very different. Same vocabulary used, context is very different. There's no way. Everybody has to go through conceptuality. There's no direct cutting of the conceptuality, right? The way we understand, the way the reference to the word conceptuality, if you understand it, according to the non-main tradition, Buddhist psychology, no way, nobody can cut through the conceptual directly. We have to go through this, and it is too slow. Gade, gade, paragade. Within the second gade, again there are four levels. Within the 4 levels, if you study the Abhisamangara, you will see the wonder of how our mind works to slowly dissolve the conceptuality. So what is in the other tradition, they talk about the cutting of the conceptual and so forth. That is not the conceptuality as taught as the word is used in the Narendra mainstream and the Buddhist psychology. So where they talk more about the discursive thoughts, cutting the discursive thoughts and the conceptuality, although they use these two as synonymous. Even it is not only in this tradition, even in the tradition, within the, say, the Lama Tsongkhapa's tradition, there are scholars, there are great practitioners who use the same vocabulary. And because of which, within the Lama Tsongkhapa's tradition, there is, the masters, they may not be too happy with using the words out of the context of the mainstream Narendra, the Buddhist psychology. Okay, so the point is, what I'm saying is that what they are saying is brilliant practice, and sometimes we go to the extent of saying that what they are saying is just nonsense. There's nothing. Nobody can go through such the cutting the conceptuality. You have to go through this gade, paragade. Even if you follow the tantra, the most sophisticated tantra, you have to go through this gade, paragade, parasamgade, right? And then go to the extent of saying that what others say, this is just nonsense, just to lure people. This is not to lure people. This is a beautiful, very precious practice. We are not to forget it. They are very precious, but sometimes people can go off the track to say that, to undermine the other traditions. A undermining B, saying that this is nonsense. B undermining A, saying this is a very long process, right? Because what they are saying is conceptual. Gade is still conceptual. Paragade, conceptual, this mix, but we will go directly, right? So they mix up the vocabularies. So these problems are there. So only if the wise people meaning somebody who is really learned, can see the beauty of both the traditions. Yet while they use the vocabularies, some use in a very strict way, the way used in the Buddhist psychology of the Narendra tradition, mainstream Narendra tradition, and others use this more flexibly, but the meaning, both are very profound. We are not to undermine, simply because you follow one tradition, you undermine the other, it's nonsense. Others saying that it's a very long thing, so we have a very direct path. This is how we undermine each other. This is the simply self-destruction of the Buddha's teachings. So both should see the beauty and the strength on the other side. That's very important. Okay, we have to finish reading this part. The conceptual, page 139, the short paragraph, which is conceptuality is the flow of the mind. Flow of the mind here refers to the conceptuality, and the flow of mind, or I would say movement of the mind. I would say the movement of the mind. Why I'm saying this as that later on, when you understand a little bit of what emptiness is, and then with this ground, then you see, say, how the conceptual minds know how the self-grasping ignorance comes to the being, and how the conceptual minds, they are related to the, say, the related, I'm not talking about that, how this is self-grasping ignorance, how some conceptual mind, they are related to the self-grasping ignorance. Then, say, then this conceptual mind, how it has the movement of the conceptual mind. So this conceptual mind, the movement of this, then the involuntary pull and push starts. Involuntary pull and push starts. There's loss of the freedom. And loss of freedom, there are two. One is loss of freedom in the very evident pull and push. Other loss of freedom in not evident pull and push, but appearance. Appearance-wise, you are being solidified, objectified. Involuntary pull and push is on the apprehension level, on the level of the apprehension. Then you cut off the mistaken apprehension. Then you continue to see the objects, continue to have the object appear as object real. So that part, because of this objectification on the appearance level, omniscience is not happening. Omniscience is not happening. Because your mind gets stuck with one appearance. So the flow of the mind, all the movement, instead of the flow, I would say movement, the mind moves towards the objectified appearance. There are two movements. One is with the subjective defect of assenting to the appearance, and thus viewing the object as object real. Number two is the movement of the mind producing the appearance. There are two movements. So because of the second movement, the omniscience is that you cannot achieve the omniscience. In other words, it obstructs you from becoming omniscient because of this second one. So the movement, and I prefer the English word, English translation. The Tibetan word is same, yuva, namdo yuva. Okay. So, but what we discuss now, don't worry, it will not come in the exam, right? This is a very complicated issue. So this is more that I would expect you, once you get a glimpse of emptiness, and then on that basis, how the cognitive obscuration comes into being, how the cognitive obscuration, what exactly cognitive obscuration, identify what are cognitive obscurations, and then the symptoms of cognitive obscurations. Then the third one, how this, what we identify as cognitive obscuration, how that stops you from cognizing all phenomena. In other words, how this stops you from having the omniscience. That is a very, very complicated question, very subtle question, and now I will use the word very difficult question. Usually I say it's not difficult, it's technical. Now this is not only technical, it's very difficult, this question. How? Oftentimes what we do, believe it or not, you go out, meet with scholars and discuss the first question. What is cognitive obscuration? They will give the answer. Number two, discuss what are the symptoms of the cognitive obscuration. They will give the answer. What's the third question? How does this, what you identified as cognitive obscuration, how the presence of this stops you from cognizing all phenomena? Right? To this question, people may give the answer, but you will never be satisfied. 99.9% of the answer that you get from people, you will not be satisfied. Okay, so that requires meditation, your experience. All these things must be blended, otherwise this one will never get this answer. Okay. It is as explained, okay, we continue reading on page 139, the second line. It is not the second line, the second paragraph. It is explained in Sutra saying, what is self-control? If it is even without the flow of mind, but need is there to also mention that it is without letters, meaning that what is the ultimate truth? If it is even without the flow of mind, meaning the flow of mind, conceptuality, the mind really does not flow, right? Mind does not really move. Mind really doesn't move. So, then if the mind does not really move, only with the movement of the mind operates. Only with the movement of the mind operates. Without action, the mind cannot operate. If the mind cannot operate, mind cannot cognize the ultimate truth. If the mind does not cognize the ultimate truth, what's the ultimate truth? So you cannot posit the ultimate truth. So this is what is said in Sutta. It's amazing. Okay. What needs there to also mention that it is without letters, which means that even the letters cannot describe this ultimate truth. Right? The movement of the mind stops, and the letters cannot describe what this ultimate truth is. So what's ultimate truth then? Okay. Okay, so the way in which things are ultimate and conventional relative to ordinary beings and superiors. Okay, so we will read through this, and then if you can see below 139, the subheading which reads explanation for ultimate truth, explaining of the meaning of the words of the root text, the root verse, and dispelling disputes about the meaning, disputes or dispelling the arguments, debates about the meaning of the words of the root verse, explanation of the words of the root verse. Okay, so this we will do next time, Sunday. Yeah, okay, we'll stop here. Okay, whether the regular participants or the online participants, if you have questions, bring them. And oftentimes, those who come up with your questions, make sure that in my talk, in the class, I give the answer, oftentimes mixed with the main body of the text, right? Main body of the teaching. You will get the answer. So there's a question here, question A, this answer, question B. I give the answer. Usually, the questions that I get, I give the answer in the talk. Right? Make sure that you pay attention to this, and then be able to extract the answer from these talks. Particularly, you send the question to the base club, to the master's course, the coordinator. Then I get this question. You make sure that the next class you pay attention to this. Pay attention to the class, because the answers oftentimes are given there as mixed with the main body of the class. Okay. Let's quickly do the end direction prayer. Page 278. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful changes the Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave magician summoned about the truth, realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. Jambula Baba Chedara Kemba Gondo Sambo Tean Deshendo, Dela Bunge Jeso Naloj, Yawan de Dadam Gerado. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Duzum Jebe Yawadam Jege, Moa Hama Chogo Mabade, Magi Geve Zawade, Sambo Jejerado Movarege. May the Supreme Bodhisattva that is not a rising grow, and may that which is the risen but it. Chonjo Sanjo Ramboje, Aya Vanam Ge Yoroje, Gyama Nyama Nebaya, As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of the Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization, the teaching, and the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the three times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect within the two stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha until spiritual enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. The path of union and emptiness and compassion, by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings in the snow land. You are the lotus holder, Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate to you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. Tonye Ninja Zondo Jubalam, Chejere Saze Kanje Dendru, Chana Bemo Tenzin Gyazola, So Ande Zo Shendo Nundro Sho. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the part of the truth of the three jewels. Volam Nobe Gyawa Dambala, Kowe Najo Sujen Sumeni, Samjurang Embe Juba Mandeba, Chosum Dembe Zene Jugurochi. In all our lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent dharma by completing the qualities of the stages in the path, may could attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent knowledge in particular, even in the cosmic life.